Here's a quick little flash video thingy for you guys. No, nothing too special, but it's just like, so I just got finished playing PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale, and I'm gonna admit, if it isn't how the game's designed that will turn you off, it's the online. Because one thing, the game is actually okay to it's okay to play if you're not playing with other people. That's kind of weird to say, but like in terms of how the game is structured, it's very much like Smash Brothers, but it's trying to do its own thing. That's the thing that I like about it. After all, seeing all these PlayStation characters go at it in this big royale, this big, again, battle royale, snatching it out. Nathan Drake versus Kratos or Sackboy for some strange reason versus Shaq. One of my favorite characters of all time, Jack and Dexter. But one of my favorite duos, not single characters, but you get what I meant. But the game itself, and I'm reading a Reddit post right here that kind of says basically what I want to say in the video. I want to make a small video about it. Not something too big, but something kind of like, okay, this is kind of how I feel about the game. The game is fun. Actually, it says it actually has good gameplay. The Reddit post says it actually has good gameplay. The moves are fun and nice, and it's cool and all that. But it's very the problem is it's super KO, it's super KO mechanic, which to me, that's completely correct, that it's very based around the system. And I'm not going to read the entire Reddit post or anything like that. I'm going to try to look at some things, and not look at too much, but look at a few things, kind of help my argument. In the thing, he says, because it doesn't matter. He says, because when you're not scoring hits, you're not getting your super up, and you won't be able to KO anyone. So all you can do is jump around and punch people. Which, I'm new to the game, yes, but that's kind of how I felt as a new player. Like, I wasn't scoring hits at the same. There's no reward for new players. Like, new players can't pick up. It's not for everyone. I'm gonna go ahead and say it's not a hard game, but the mechanics make it to where it's not friendly to new players, because it's very based around the super. It's very based around the super mechanic, as the guy says, and as I think, because if you're not hitting anyone, then you're not building your super, and you can't really defeat enemies, because the game's very based around getting super KOs. That's what they showed off in the whole thing, with the trailer. They had all these characters, these great characters we all know and love, beating up each other. And it looks super cool to see all these, well-known PlayStation icons in this Smash Brothers kind of game. It's essentially, yes, Sony Smash Brothers, but the basic mechanic, the big mechanic they want to shut off is that, okay, the guy's like, okay, so now Kratos or whatever the character is has his super, and now he can initiate a super attack. The problem is that these aren't just mechanics that are built in the game to, make it to where better players can, to get this super move and defeat enemies easier. That's the main part of the game. That's the only way you can actually get eliminations or kills. And the fact is that as this guy goes in the Reddit post, in theory it works. You avoid getting hit in order to stop your opponent from getting their super up. That makes sense. That's protecting yourself. But without tangible feedback and consequence for getting hit, players lose the sense of urgency for protecting themselves, because nothing can actually hurt them in any way until they get their super up. That makes total sense. It makes complete sense, the fact that you cannot, you don't have a sense of gratification. In Smash, the more you got hit, obviously, the more the percentage builds up, and that way it gives you a better chance of getting smashed. You don't want to get smashed because you don't want to get defeated. In this game, you can just wail on anybody, and that's it. They'll fly off, but they won't fly off stage. They won't fall or anything like that. You can't truly be defeated by certain stages. There are certain stages that scroll up, but you can't truly be defeated by the stage itself, or just falling off by accident, or getting smashed. You have to be defeated by a super move. And the guy goes on and say these supers themselves are actually very unsatisfying to the player getting hit. Often you just die right away when you got hit. No chance to survive and come back or defend. You can just avoid them. And that's the thing. plenty of times in my matches, I spent all this time actually trying to wail on the enemy, which is very hard to do, by the way. Because if in a 4-player free for all, you got all sorts of things. You got 4 characters going on. You got these overcrowded stages for some reason. They have stages that have two gimmicks, and the stages themselves can be distracting to the eyes. So you wonder about, and there's no real feedback to how things go. It's just like, okay, there's not a character on screen that's like, okay, this is Jack, this is Cole, this is Nathan Drake. There's just like one, player 2, player 3, and it's just like, okay, if there are multiple characters on the screen, like for example, I got in a match with 2 Jacks and 2 Coles, and I was one Cole, and the other one was one Cole too. We were the same Cole, not evil Cole, just regular good Cole, and I couldn't realize who I was, so I'm getting knocked around pressing buttons like, okay, which one am I? Which one am I supposed to be? And the fact is, it's just like you keep getting hit, and okay, I build up my super move, now trying to unleash it, if you can just avoid it. Okay, if it's anything like Smash, I can just completely get back into the game, because then I can just defeat you with regular like basic moves and combos. And the guy goes on to say, this is made even worse with the existence of some of the practical unavoidable supers. There are a lot of characters that can use a lot of unavoidable supers. Like, for example, Kratos, I think, has one. Dante, the DMC, the new reboot Dante, he has a lot. A lot of these characters have very unavoidable, like, area of effect supers. But some characters have supers that go straight out in whatever direction they're aiming. You can be, but some characters have I noticed that a lot of the characters who have supers, their area of effect, meaning they don't have to be looking dead at you to hit you, were used a lot, because that way you don't have, that's less work you have to do. That's less setting up you have to actually do. And he goes on to say that you can get hit and you can't even dodge them. You cannot dodge super moves. Some of these super moves you cannot dodge. And these are like level 1. Level 1's like, okay, that's a basic one that it can be avoidable as long as you're away from it. Level 2 is like, okay, it covers a bigger area somewhat, or it's like a timed super move. Like, you can actually run around the stage and, collide with people. Most of them are just like, okay, this is just one big, like, for example, I'm not going to take a regular character, but let's take like, okay, so 1 is like, okay, an amazing big slash. And 2 is like an amazing big slash that you can do as you're running around. And 3 is like a super move that you can kind of just maybe like just like a super transformation. Like, for example, Jack and Dexter, they have Blight Jack, which you can just move around the stage. Like, think Sonic from Smash Brothers when he goes Super Sonic as his final smash. That's basically what it's like. Okay, so he goes on to say, since it hits themselves with no impact and no consequence, the high-tier game would be entirely about avoiding supers and nothing else. That's basically what it is, because that's the only mechanic, and that's the only way you can actually get proper, like, actual kills. And he goes on to say, Smash Bros. Caught on because the game is extremely simple from its core. Yes, they added final smashes, but the core mechanics are still there. You can still defeat someone by not even doing a smash in general. In fact, most of the tournaments, completely get rid of items and smash balls anyway. So it's a completely like standardized fighting game. But since PlayStation Allstars, no matter what you're doing, ranking, whatever, it's completely based on this super mechanic that's kind of broken, to be honest, because it can be really one-sided during a match, where there's always one guy who's like overranked everybody. He can use the character completely thoroughly, and like new players like me, I can't do fucking anything because I can't hit this guy because he keeps dodging. I understand, okay, get good, but at the same time, if there was a way that I can, defeat him by simple punches and kicks, stuff like that, or combos, you can rank combos, but all that goes towards your super meter, like I just said. And you can't defeat anybody with a super meter, or maybe get lucky and they have the one random ass stage where they can actually fall off of. He goes and say, yeah, there's a high skill ceiling. Yes, very high. And a deep meta mixed in there. To me, the meta I figured out, and I figured this out really quickly. The meta is that because there's no consequence for actually getting hit, you can get hit all you want, knocked around, so long as you don't get caught in someone's super. Like, people will try to combo into supers, and that's like, okay, that's understandable. Like, when you try to combo into a smash that isn't like a transformation where you can just fly around the screen. It's like a smash, like, Mars, for example, ice where you have to catch somebody in a combo, or catch someone because you have to be facing that way, and you can get them, for example. And then it goes on to say that there's a high skill ceiling and there's a deep meta, but the fact is that the meta is basically okay. I got my super. It doesn't matter what level. You just have to get a super because supers are literal instant kills. Literal instant kills because the game's built around them. They can instant kill any character because that's what the game's built around. And basically, it just becomes a complete stop. Like everyone's just kind of zoning a little bit, standing on different sides of the stages because like no one wants to fucking do anything. Like we literally sat there because all of us had like one super or whatever. We literally just sat there moving around like it becomes a cat and mouse game with like 4 players because no one wants to get caught in the super, and it just becomes very boring to me. And and the fact is, like, yeah, it's just like a really boring, like it's not even kind of like a mind game. It's just like, okay, I'm waiting on you to do a mind game would like imply that you're doing a like thing that can screw over, like something that can twist up a player. It's not really a mind game to just wait for someone to come to you. That's camping. It's basically like stop, camp, do absolutely nothing, then wait for something to come to you, and then just capitalize on it. That's basically what it is. And it's just a weird like dichotomy that doesn't really explain anything. That skill ceiling is just way too high in my opinion. There's not much you can do. And again, as a new player, I was very really turned off by the fact I can learn it real fast. And people say, "Oh, well, Smash has a high skill ceiling too." Well, not really, because this was just regular player matches that I was struggling with. Because I knew how to go, fight with the characters. I went offline, training with a couple of characters that I liked from their series, like Cole or Rapid Rapper or even Kratos, and I was still having trouble because it's just this anti-game of like people have 2 modes where they're just jumping around waiting to hit someone in a combo, or just like randomly waiting around because they have like full super. There's that one guy there that was like I gave him props because he's like he's actually getting combos. He's actually doing things. He's not just doing this lame waiting game where he gets 1 super like meter and then just kind of camps out and try to wait to catch someone so he can hit them and insta kill them. And then taunt afterwards because that's what you do. You didn't earn that kill, dude. It's basically a mechanic to get a 1-hit kill off supers. Like, you just kind of stood in the counter and did fucking nothing until I happened to get flung over that way because I got hit randomly. And it's just like, the game's mechanics is just too weird. If they're ever going to make a sequel, which I doubt it, they need to have it to where, like, you can be hurt outside of having to have some lame super that, like, a lot of people use the same characters. Like, I've done like maybe almost 10 matches and I've really ran into the same fucking characters over and over again. Jack or Kratos or Cole or Evil Cole or all these characters that have these like super moves that are like very area of effect. They don't have to be facing you. You just be around them, you know. And to me, I want to like the game and I'm probably gonna play it again eventually. That's kind of how I am, but the game like online just got really old, and I barely even played like a lot of matches.